Farnham Repair Café was initially set up in 2004 and then became a charity in 2017. And effectively, you have a broken product, you walk through the door, and that broken product might be a bike, it might be a vacuum cleaner, it might be a drone, it might be a piece of porcelain, multiple products. And then we'll book that product in, we'll identify what the problem is, and then the customer will be allocated to a workstation. We have workstations for electrical, mechanical, bikes, laptops, furniture, and clothing. So essentially, we've got expert volunteers, many of whom are retired or semi-retired, with a lifetime of experience, and effectively 66% of the time or 67% of the time we're able to fix a product, despite many products still not being designed for ease of repairability. So it was originally emerged out of a conference I ran as part of a European project looking at making, modifying, and fixing of products, a whole new shift that started to happen over the last 10 years. And effectively, coming out of that initiative, there was a discussion started with a local group about could we set up some sort of initiative either to repair or make products at a local level. And we decided, after a lot of discussion, to set up a repair cafe. And the first repair cafes were set up in the Netherlands in 2009. Or 2009, 2010. So it's set up initially with pilots, because nobody knew how to do it at that stage, so we set up some pilots to work out how to do it. And then we officially launched at the beginning of 2014. And then at a later stage, we sort of moved to a more solidity, if you like, and we decided what was the next action for us in terms of making it more solid. And we became the UK's first charity repair cafe. So we had to sort of put our arguments, in front of the Charities Commission because there was no precedent, but then we were given a charity status in 2017. So it's based in the Spire Church in Farnham, in central Farnham, and we've recently moved, or the Spire Church have been going through some refurbishment, and fortunately for us, we've been able to move from a smaller space right into the centre of the church because they've removed all the pews. So they have this fantastic space there. And the Repair Café itself is although its legal entity as a charity, it's a collaboration between the Repair Café itself, UCA, Farnham Town Council, and the Spire Church, although it is not linked to any specific religion. So the Repair Café was set up for a range of reasons because there's different sort of stakeholders involved in it. It was certainly set up as a civil society, social innovation, really to try and reduce waste particularly, and to be part of this growing, some have called it a movement, I'm not sure if I'm comfortable with it, of repair cafes throughout Europe. And indeed now, whether you call it a movement or not, there's about 2,100 repair cafes in the world. Prior to the lockdown, we organised the first UK Repair Cafe conference where we had 80 repair cafes. We would have had 120, but some were getting very nervous about CV19. But part of the evolution, particularly in terms of going back to why we set it up, was to provide a specific platform to enable that repair to happen. But also part of what we're doing is providing a broader sort of we're broadening the initiative. So things like the conference, things like webinars we've run throughout Europe. Things like the repair carbon calculator are part of the added value that we're delivering for the Repair Cafe. So our most direct link to on a positive side to the sustainable transportation side is really, I'd say, two sides. One is direct and one is indirect, in the sense of we do bike repairs and we see, you know, a number of these come in. Indeed, we've just recruited a brilliant new bike repairer. And also, you know, by bringing some of our broader initiatives online, people are not having to travel to come to our events that are covering, you know, for example, we ran some specific events on how to set up a repair cafe and manage repair cafes from experience, and then on repair learnings. So we would have normally, prior to the pandemic, run those as physical events, but now we see the benefits of running them through Zoom. We can get to a wider audience, and therefore we don't have the carbon emissions associated with the people coming to the event. So sort of slightly indirect one, but it's all part of the picture. Surrey residents can look at things like, if their employers are flexible, looking at more teleworking, or whatever the term is used now. That was the old term. But, you know, increasingly companies are becoming more flexible about this. And indeed, our daughter, who's 27, she won't work for a company now that doesn't offer that. So that, you know, maybe certain types of employers will become more demanding on that. I think, you know, people can, you know, where feasible, cut down on their air travel, of course. You can do things remotely. I ran a conference, not on Repair Cafe, but on sustainability and fashion. We had 550 attendees from all around the world, delivered via Zoom, 50, 60 papers. So you can do information provision. So my hopes for the COP26 conference that's starting today in Glasgow is that we move beyond the rhetoric and the awareness raising to actions, solutions, innovation, implementation, and investment. And I see really COP26 as sort of part of the process. I was there in 1992 in Rio, where really a lot of the activities around and awareness raising started on sustainable development. And I was there in the much vaunted, you know, COP in Copenhagen in 2009. But, you know, a lot of the hope didn't lead to action. So I think we're at a stage where we need action, we need engagement from all sorts of different stakeholders. And one example is really a repair cafe that is a social innovation that is linking the repair of products to carbon emission savings, and therefore impacting, you know, on climate change positively in that sense.